Hi guys, you're listening to Tea with Chi. That's it. That's the intro. Put that at the beginning. But anyway, so then this time I actually put the tea bag in the tea. But yeah, that happened. So that was just annoying. I was like, I gotta tell Michael about this before we even like officially start because did you get your tea?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been wild. I got the first dose of the vaccine
Oh, nice. When did you do that?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Nice. So, oh yeah, your second dose. Do you know how long? You said a
28
month
days.
later?
Yeah.
28 days.
Yeah.
That's weird. I guess for everyone it's different or something. I'm not sure.
No, it's it's like I think 21 days for the Pfizer or maybe even 2 weeks, but for Moderna it's 28 days. And I got the Moderna one.
Shit. That's weird. My friend got the Moderna and hers is like 21 days later. She got the second dose.
Huh.
I don't know. Who knows? There's three vaccines for the same thing. I think that's crazy.
Um,
Supposedly, like the getting a vaccine is just supposed to, even if you do get the other strains, you're supposed to be a little better off, you know?
yeah,
It's not,
yeah.
you're gonna, basically,
You have
you
the
can
antibody.
get sick, right? But I heard that like you still get sick, especially like with the Johnson and Johnson supposedly, but your chances of being hospitalized or having severe like symptoms are like reduced. Actually, you won't be hospitalized. I think that's what they kind of say.
Yeah, it's yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I mean, if I get sick, I get sick, but I know that I won't die from it now, right?
It's a relief to know that for sure.
It's crazy. Like, to be honest, I've been bad the last 2 weeks because after I got my vaccine, I was like, look, I know I'm not fully vaccinated until today, but I was like, fuck it, like, fuck it. That's why I was like, I'll go to Mexico, whatever. I stayed safe,
Oh
making
yeah.
sure I don't get other people sick, but
Yeah.
um,
How was Mexico?
I made it. It was good. It was fun. We got there late because there was so much shit we had to do here, and then Frankie had to go to his parents' house to pick up stuff before like we actually went. So we got to Mexico maybe about 3 o'clock or so, 2 or 3 maybe, and we went to Sinai's house. We said hi, and then we went to. We were gonna go to Playas to that restaurant where we went. Do you remember?
Which one?
With the bomb ass drinks and like the fish
With the music?
tacos and shit.
With the music playing?
No, no, it was a restaurant. We sat inside by the beach. It wasn't
Oh,
like on the beach, but it was
is
that
that
one
the one that we
place.
went to with Sene and the girls?
No, no, no.
Oh,
This is
oh, was it?
another one.
Oh, the one with just you, me, and Frankie. Is that the place where we had the big
The
thing
drinks.
with all the shrimp and the? Oh, that was so good.
Yes, the cocktail. So then
Mm,
you had your pina colada, which was fire.
that
Remember
was
that?
fire. Yeah, yeah,
And I think I drank a blue Hawaiian, and Frankie had like the
yeah. The margarita.
margarito de tamarindo or something. Shit was
Yeah.
fire. So yeah, so Frankie and I actually went to that restaurant. We were going to go with Sinai on that first day, but we instead decided to go to Puerto Nuevo for some reason. Oh, because I accidentally took the wrong street and I ended up like just going. And Sinai was like, well, we could go to like Rosarito. And then I was like, oh, true, we could just hang out Rosarito and like get some food there. And then even better, she was like, how about Puerto Nuevo, which is like a little further down. It's kind of a little quieter and nicer. And it's kind of a touristy spot anyway, so you're gonna spend a little more money. But
Mm.
still, considering that Frankie and I had two drinks each, Sinai had a drink, and then which first of all, I only drank half like one drink. I had a Long Island, and after that, I was like, Sinai, you gotta drink my second drink. I cannot do it. I
Yeah,
like my alcohol tolerance is not there, and
that's
plus,
good.
like, yeah, it's good, but also I'm not really in the mood for drinking most of the time anyway. Like in
That's good.
theory, I'm like,
You're doing
I'd
it
love a
anyway.
gin and juice, you know? And then when I'm like, maybe I should do my gin and juice, I'm like, nah, I don't really want it.
Yeah.
But so We went to that restaurant in Puerto Nuevo, and it was really nice. Frankie had some coconut shrimp. We all had shrimp, actually. Every single one of our dishes was shrimp. But they had these big ass tortillas that were like double the size of your head. Like there were these just giant tortillas. They looked like tablecloths, and they were handmade. Of course, they were delicious, bro. So we gotta go there next time we go to Mexico. We're going there. And then later that night, Sinai was like, so we walked around that area. She was looking for stuff for her party, which is on the 27th tomorrow. And then we
Oh, right. She's got a birthday, right?
her birthday was 2 days ago on the 24th. She turned 20.
Oh, cool. Good for her.
Mm-hmm. So, and then like later that night, she was like, should we go get tattoos? And I was like,
That's when yeah, I saw that on Instagram. Yeah.
I was like, say less. Yes. Like, where are we going? We went to this place that's like 24 hours or whatever. Now, because I drank alcohol, I need to put lotion on this bitch, but you can't really see it. Because I drank alcohol, yeah, it's fine. I drank alcohol, so this top one he did with like a turquoise kind of ink. You could tell that like now it's healing and everything, but some of the spaces like didn't absorb. Like my skin did not absorb the ink very well. So I think,
when you get a tattoo.
Exactly, you're not supposed to drink. But I was like, fuck, I already drank. And I thought about that too. I was like, you're not supposed to drink when you get a tattoo. But I was just like, fuck it. You know what I mean? I want a tattoo. Like, I'm not going to wait 48 hours to go back to Mexico and then get a tattoo.
Yeah.
But now I know, like, next time, if I do want to get one, I have to plan it ahead of time. That way I know not to drink on my trip.
How much did that
and
cost
just
you?
like $40 for two of them. Mm-hmm. For these two
tattoos?
Yeah.
Dude, why am I getting tats in the States?
And you know what? You can find really good artists down there in, downtown. Some people are actually like deported from the States kind of shit. Like the guy that did my pina colada on the back, that thing took like 2.5, 3 hours. And he had been deported, and he was an artist back in like Oklahoma or some shit in Texas. And then he got deported back to Mexico. I wanted that guy to do more tattoos, but he's the one that got all weird and shit. Started like flirting with me and like messaging me outside. I'm like, bitch, you did my tattoo. That's it. Stay off. Like, but then we got our tattoos, and then the next day I was just so beat because I had driven from LA to Mexico, and I drove all in Mexico because obviously Frankie can't drive down there. He doesn't know Mexico, and he doesn't know how to drive there anyway because it's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, I would be losing my mind trying to drive down there. The streets are crazy. Like,
and then none of the like exits and turns and twists, none of it makes sense. And I told like Sinai when I was driving, I was getting so fucking frustrated. I was like, none of this shit makes sense on the roads. And she goes, honestly, it doesn't. She's like, even for us, it doesn't make sense. Like, they just throw shit around and just make pathways to other places, and none of the roads are paved, and there's potholes everywhere. But fuck, like it's so stressful to, like driving down there. So the next day I was just so stressed. Like I was feeling like that come down of the stress kind of thing, when you're just exhausted the next day after a stressful event. And you're just like totally depleted of energy. And that's how I was when I woke up in the morning. I was just really just tired. So Frankie and I went to that restaurant that we had gone to in Playas, and then we got some, remember the aguas frescas, the fruit drinks that we got in the town where Sinai lives? I think we had gotten like fruit and strawberry and banana with you, remember?
Oh,
those
that's
are
right.
So good.
Yeah, I remember that.
So fire. So we got some of those, of course, because that's my thing when I go there. I always have to get an agua fresca from La Michoacana right there. And that same one, because not all of them are the same. You go to some Michoacanas, they don't taste as good. So I went to that one. And then, and then we went back to Sinai's house, and I passed out for like a few hours. And then Sinai, after work, she got out at like 7. She wanted to go drinking downtown, and I was like, I can't. Like, I just can't do anything. We were supposed to leave that night too. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, drink and then go drive for like 2.5 hours, 3 hours. And actually, you know what? We ended up leaving at about 10. We got to the border at 10:10, and we crossed the border at 1:30.
What the fuck?
2 in the morning. We got home at like 4 o'clock in the morning. And then Frankie had to wake up.
The border would have been like quicker at night, but apparently
Right. No, and it used to be, but they only had 4 lanes open for all traffic. All the other lanes were like ready lane, which is like you have to have a special passport card to pass through. So which the passport cards are kind of cheap, you know, they're like 30 something bucks or maybe 50 something bucks. And that's what I had to do with my stimmy is get a passport. And I think I'm gonna I'm gonna get the passport book and also the passport card. That way, you know, when I go to Mexico and travel land, I can just use my passport card. And when I fly, I can use the book. But yeah, it took us a long time. And then Frankie that next morning, I'm all rambling on. There's been so much. Frankie that next morning he went snowboarding with his friend. And so he woke up at 7 in the morning. He slept for 3 hours. He slept for like 3.5 hours. And then he went snowboarding. And he was beat for like days after that.
Yeah, I bet.
But yeah, it was fun. I mean, we had a blast. It's all just good food and like the beach, you know. Yeah, the food is so good. Like it's ridiculous.
To pretend to be rich for like a couple of days.
I mean, yeah, you can definitely be rich for a minute out there. It's been new with you.
Not much. Definitely not as exciting a week. Yeah,
that's good.
I got the vaccine and then I like just kind of slept for like a day and a half.
How did you feel? Like, did you have any side effects? No, you were good.
No, I mean I was lethargic, but like that's pretty much it. So I just chilled.
Good. You got lucky.
I got lucky. I wasn't sick or anything. Not like you. Yeah.
That was not good.
Because you had like a full on like fever and everything, right?
Yeah, I felt like, and one of the assistant general manager, he got COVID, right? And I was explaining to him everything I felt. He's like, damn. He's like, you got like COVID. And I was like, really? And he goes, yeah. And I told him I feel like just foggy and like weird. He goes, yeah, you just can't shake it off. Like it just doesn't go away. It's just there. And I'm like, yeah, it's just this weird like mental fogginess too. That headache was just, oh my God, I swear to God, I hope I never feel like that again. That was awful. Like full on, my body was just so much pain everywhere. Dude, it was really intense. I don't even know what the fuck that was. I really thought I was like, damn, if I don't get good, like better within a couple of days, I need to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
It was nerve-wracking, but I slept it off and then I bounced back the next day like nothing happened.
I mean, that's good at least, but I mean, that sucks that you got that much of a reaction from it.
Yeah, but they say, you know, women react to it a little more strongly than men.
And a lot of people like, you know, have side effects and stuff like that. At least that's now true. It's like now you're on the other side.
Now I'm fully vaccinated for
kill me. Yeah. Exactly.
Right. Corona safe. I feel like I should just get like a tattoo on my forehead that says vaccinated. COVID-19 vaccinated. That way it's like.
Yeah. That's a great decision. You should do that.
Or like, could you imagine? Like, that's what I was imagining. We'd have to be stamped. Like, are you vaccinated? But then, you know, Frankie was talking about businesses not servicing people if they're not vaccinated and stuff. And I said, I don't think that's possible because we have, you know, freedom in America and we have the freedom to choose whether or not we get vaccinated.
Well, just look at how much people responded like almost violently to having to wear masks. You think
right?
Okay, you're forcing this vaccine. The government's trying to poison me. Like, no, that's never gonna happen. People are too crazy.
That's true. And that's what like
though, because right now it's like no mask, no service, get out. It doesn't matter. But what's gonna be weird is the transition where it's like, so are we done with the masks yet or not?
Right. Right now it's too early, like because cases started going up again from what I heard. Because I mean everyone's getting comfortable and you know even if you're vaccinated you could still get sick, you know, that doesn't mean you're not going to get sick.
Well, and you could still spread it.
Exactly, that's the biggest thing.
Although there is that you're apparently a reduced risk of you spreading it.
Yeah.
But even still, like, you know,
But still, you need a mask to reduce that even more, down to like what, 5% maybe or some shit. Who knows? But yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I'm starting to think like this, we're gonna be dealing with this for like another year or two. you know?
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
It kind of depends on how the next few months go, which I feel like we've been saying all year.
It's just kind of how life works.
It depends on the numbers. Like, if enough people get vaccinated in the next 2, 3, 4 months, then by fall, or at the very, even if not like 2022, could be back to normal. I feel like over the summer, people are just going to be acting like it's back to normal, but I feel like it won't be
Mhm.
yet.
It's already been a year and 10 days since the lockdown.
It's wild.
It is weird. Yeah, it's so strange when you think about that, I don't know, chunk of time, honestly.
Yeah.
But I mean, it hasn't been all bad. I mean,
No.
on my end, I was fortunate enough to be able to get an apartment and a new job and stuff like that, which, not everyone is lucky enough to find that in these times. So I'm grateful, but I know for a lot of people it's been really hard. And I think too, the biggest thing is it's like in general as a whole for everybody, it's just hard mentally.
That's probably the biggest part of it. But again, even that, there's kind of a silver lining to it. I think we've talked about this before, like the Hindu idea of Kali Yuga, where it's like
Mm-hmm.
being in the worst times, which is typically like they typically put that time kind of as preceding the apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
They always talk about how those people have the easiest time awakening and in coming to enlightenment and realizing the nature of the universe and all that kind of thing.
Right.
And not that we're at the worst. This is the worst. This is apocalypse. But
Right.
but it's a little bit. It's like things are rougher, especially mentally. And I think that there is a little bit of a benefit to that because it forces you to kind of deal with shit. Like, you can't just kind of put off, oh, my mental health, I'll take care of that later. Like, this is later.
Yeah.
You can't put it off for a whole. Like, it gets to a point where you kind of have to figure something out.
That's true. I remember, well, I don't know if you want to add this on the pod, but yesterday when you messaged me about, the depression and pride thing, I was going through a similar thing like earlier yesterday too. I was depressed, but it was almost like this I didn't know why kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the tough part too is like I am diagnosed with fucking chronic depression, and it's mild or whatever, but it's kind of there. And I realized like my form, I mean, my depression takes form in um in different ways and in ways that I don't even notice. Like, for example, I think, well, obviously I have my liver disease and then arthritis and shit. So that gives me fatigue,
That's pretty
but also
interesting.
depression.
Yeah.
Yeah, but depression also gives you a lot of fatigue.
Yeah.
So um it's this thing where I feel like I need to pinpoint where it's coming from, but it's just an accumulation of a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday I was like in the shower and I was just like, oh, I was just feeling so low. And I was like, why? And then I turned around to the shower head and I like went like this and I was just like, I hate myself. Like, and I just started crying. Like, I just broke down. And it's not I hate myself like internally, but like externally, like physically do not like myself, like what I see. And
Sure.
body dysmorphia has always been there and probably has to do with dancing also. But yeah, I just like kind of struggled with that for a minute and I was just like, I don't like what I see and I don't feel like I have the energy to change it. And then I talked with Frankie about it because it came out of the shower. He's like, what's going on? Like, you seem sad. And I was like, yeah. And I just like started crying and I started explaining it to him and he was like, he's good at helping in those times. He was just like, it's okay. Like, he's like, we can make little changes. We can start eating better. We'll take more walks, little things. And he's like, but let's start, with eating better kind of thing. And then, from then forward, he goes, but you have to build your stamina, and you're not going to build stamina or have energy until you start doing some stuff. And it's
Right.
true. Like, it's just sometimes I want to take this passive way of being, it's like,
Yeah.
and really you can't be passive. You gotta, if you want to change, if you want to be healthier and all this, then you gotta really do it, and you gotta muscle up the energy to figure out how to do it, honestly.
Yeah, I totally relate to that. I get in a similar state with depression where you get that kind of cycle of doing nothing and then hating yourself for doing nothing, so you do more nothing. And it's almost
Mm-hmm.
like you're waiting for energy to feel good and to do stuff.
Yeah.
But the problem is it's a chicken or egg situation. Doing stuff comes
Yeah.
first. The more things you do, the more your body adjusts and starts making more energy for you to use. But if you're not doing
Yeah,
anything, your body
that's
goes,
true.
"Oh, well, we don't need to make energy."
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's the toughest thing, is that it kind of
Mm-hmm.
it does have to begin with the
Goes hand in
routine.
hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it probably takes a few days and that's what sucks too. It's not even like you start the routine and you're like, I feel great. No, you feel like
Mm-hmm.
shit like for a while, and then eventually your body catches up to what you're trying to do, and then it starts making you feel better. Um,
Yeah.
the
And then it
pride,
becomes a habit.
yeah, and the pride thing, I have a similar thing because a lot of my kind of self-esteem issues are physical as well, where it's
Mm-hmm.
body shit. And it's interesting that you mentioned dance. I think part of that is because, so neither of us, if you were to look at either of us, the first word that you would use is not athletic. You wouldn't be like, oh, that's a person who was born to be an athlete. No, we got fucking health problems and all the rest of it, whatever. We're artistic types, right? So we got into dance because of
True.
the connection with the artistry. The
Yeah.
problem is that dance is artistic and athletic. So if you're someone
Mm-hmm.
who you've got buckets of one of those and not so much of the other, it can fuck with
Mm-hmm.
your self-esteem big time.
It's
Um,
true.
but then part of that, so it's partly connected to the physical, but also just other things. I get into this state where I think I'm not good enough at XYZ that I want to be doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's the worst like kind of cyclical part of it is then I start thinking, and even if I can progress somewhat, it's never going to be enough to really matter. Like I can get somewhat better at something, but I'm still going to be among the mediocre masses at whatever I'm doing. I'm never going to be good enough to be important at what I'm doing. And then I just want to give up. I'm just like, I just want to kill
Right.
myself. Okay, I don't have the balls for that. Well, I'll do the next best thing, which is sleep, or you know
Yeah.
just get high and watch TV and eat shit.
Right.
And that feeling, I had a realization about it, which is that it's basically pride, um, which kind of makes sense because pride is like, of the seven deadly sins, it's the one that the rest of them come out of. But it's
Mm-hmm.
basically like it's an ego thing. It's I don't want to be embarrassed at being
Mm-hmm.
myself and being and doing what I want to do, despite the fact that I'm not that great at it and no one really cares. I want to be good at what I'm doing and I want people to care and notice. And it was the realization that it's like, well, that's not part of it, motherfucker. Like
Right.
God's instructions are do what you want to do. I'm like,
Right. That
but I
part.
want to be good and I want to be recognized. And he's like, I don't give a fuck. Or she.
Yeah, for me it's the other way. It's just like it's the way I see myself, and I don't like that I see myself this way, because it's like I don't care, like anyone could tell me your body looks fine. That don't do shit for me. I don't care, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's the way I see myself that makes me angry in the way I am. So,
But
and I
what's
guess
interesting
in a
about
way
that?
that it's still pride
Yeah, but
from me internally, I guess.
so is it strictly how you see yourself? Because I know for me, most of my body image stuff is the reason I see myself that way is because I'm projecting the expectation that that's how other people are going to see me. If I wasn't worried that other people would think I was like too scrawny, I wouldn't give a fuck. But
Right.
because I know in my head, oh, I'm not what other people are going to want or what other people like or what is going to be appealing
Mm.
to other people. Do you think it's that, or do you think it really strictly is just you to you?
No, it's you, it's me to me, because like it I like it doesn't bother me if someone were to call me fat or something. Like I'd just be like, okay, whatever. But I call myself fat, you know what I mean? it is just me against myself. And I feel like it's always been that way, like, you know, it's always been that way. And then dance put another element of, well, now I'm pretty much naked in class, you know, and
Yeah,
I don't look like these people for sure.
sure.
But then after
Competition.
I got out of dance, I went back to just kind of hating myself for what I looked like, you know, and not because of the expectations of others, I guess.
Mm.
So yeah, because like what, fuck what everybody else thinks, right?
Yeah, and what's
But
weird
like
is that
what
it's
I
like,
think about me matters more than, you know.
yeah. Well, what's also interesting is that I've realized that it's not what everybody else thinks, it's what I think they're gonna think. And
Yeah, that
a
too.
big
Yeah.
part of it kind of reminded me of like an Alan Watts thing where he was talking about how you're constantly telling people who you are in every situation you're in. So he's like, so you guys sitting here listening to me, you're telling me I'm some kind of a teacher. And by talking to you, I'm
Mm,
telling you that you're some kind of a student. That's
right.
how situations work.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that a big part of that is okay, so I need to change my energy first and stop worrying about the expectations because in reality, people only will it's like the insecurity doesn't come from people's reactions comes from the insecurity. If you walk in the
True.
room and you're going like, oh, I'm fat, everyone's like, yeah, look at you, you fat fuck, you know. But if you
Right.
come in and you're like, I'm the shit, everyone's like, wow, that person's the shit, that's awesome, you know.
Right. It's a
It's a hundred
confidence.
percent
Yeah.
yeah, it's like no one ever goes on about the body image stuff of people that are like confident, you know. Mick Jagger walks in the
Yeah.
room, he's like, I'm ugly as hell and I got huge lips, like
That's true.
no one would ever shit on him for that because he's got confidence
That's
about it.
true. Yeah. Very true.
But
So
that's just
yeah, we're
hard,
just some bitches with some low self-esteem,
dude. Yeah,
confidence issues. That's just life on the daily. It's I always feel like it's the same shit, you know, different day, but
yeah,
I guess you realize like more layers of it when things come up, you know, especially when you get emotional about something, then you're like, okay, it's the same thing, but now I think about it like this, you know.
right.
So mm.
Yeah, it's also
Also,
yeah.
oh, go ahead.
No, no, no. You,
No, go ahead. Go, bitch.
you go.
No, I was gonna say that like when I did, you know, that last time since I did like shrooms, it kind of messed with me um since then, anxiety wise and stuff. So
Hmm. That's
I've
interesting.
noticed more like, yeah, because initially it kind of it helped me a lot.
Yeah.
It helped my anxiety and depression. And now it it did something. It did something because when I start feeling before, okay, it's just weird to explain. Before when I would get anxiety, I would feel fully panicked, just very 100% panicking. And now it's more like it's panic, but I feel more trapped internally, if that makes sense. I feel like inside I'm just like, oh,
So
like
it's
I
it's
don't,
it's not
I
like
guess I'm,
screaming panic. It's like a low hum panic. Like it's just constantly there.
it's not constantly there, but when I get into situations, I feel physically uncomfortable as if I were on shrooms. Like
Okay.
that,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
want to get outside of my body. I
Yeah.
don't like this, you know, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Whereas before I'd be more just frantic about things.
Sure.
Now I'm it, and the thing is, I wasn't feeling that before. My anxiety was a little more controlled to where it was just like, okay, I recognize I am anxious. Ugh, okay, breathe, and then we move on. And that was fine. And I was doing really well with it. But then since this last time I did shrooms, that's been exacerbated like a little bit more. And I just realized that I am not only aware, but I'm also just kind of, I'm not full panic. It's like being in between, you know, of just being really physically uncomfortable and not knowing what to do, I guess, with that sensation.
That's kind of interesting. And in a way, it's a more evolved sensation to have
Yeah.
because before you were living the anxiety, and now that
Mm-hmm.
you've seen this distinction between your body and you,
Mm-hmm.
now there's like a whole new menu where it's just like, oh yeah, I want to get out of this, but I don't want to be in this physical vessel anymore. And that part,
Yeah.
like, I can understand that. Yeah, I think this is something that I think both you and I have to deal with. I think when you have something like anxiety or you face death or something like that and you get past it, there's empowerment there. But I think there's also the danger of thinking, oh, well, I'm empowered now, so I got it. No, no, no,
Right.
no, no. Death is a trick, and death or anxiety or whatever we want to call this is a tricky motherfucker. It's gonna come for your ass. If
Yeah.
you've got a good defense over here, it's coming from over here now.
True.
And so there's like you kind of have to stay adaptable, where it's like
True.
you beat anxiety before. Okay, now anxiety's coming in a new way. You know.
Exactly. It's like the the trauma takes different forms too, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing that I've been realizing. And I've like remember, I know we talked about it last time too, but having these repressed memories and things like that, very uncomfortable. But I know that my mind needs to go through it, and that's why it's happening now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just strange. And it trauma, like it'll always be there, and it is just one thing that kind of affects how you deal with things, you know? And I think it's always that thing where, like you said, we have to be adaptable and flexible on, you know, figuring out how to deal with it and how to move forward with it, because it's not going to go away. It's just going to change forms and come at different angles, like you said. So yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy.
it is. It's been crazy. Like, you know, I always think like nothing's going on, you know, in my life, like changes wise, but mentally and internally, I feel like things are happening, you know, all the time.
Yeah, of
And
course.
it's just weird to explain, or it's hard to like explain in words, but because you feel it more than anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
feel
mean,
that.
otherwise though, I'm still happy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's ups and downs, and there's always going to be ups and downs,
Yeah.
and especially when you go through more traumatic things in life. But
Well, it's funny too because it's like when you talk to people, it's almost like you want to do like a book report of your life where you're like, well, this week I got this done and I did this and I did some video editing and I did my homework, blah, blah, blah. But a
yeah.
lot of the time it's like, yeah, there's nothing tangible. You're just like, I was going through a lot of existential crisis shit.
Pretty
Just a lot of
much.
nonsense in my head. I don't know. Exist.
Yeah.
You ever exist? Isn't that a bit?
The fucking existing is so weird.
Yeah.
So weird. I still look I look at all the things though, and it always just blows my mind how, you know, life in general. But just the fact that we exist on this freaking living organism that is alive, that gives us life, you know, it's just so
Yeah.
cool.
It's funny. I've been taking this Asian philosophy class, and it's been really great. One of the things that we were talking about was related to a lot of Buddhist and Hindu ideas of samsara and the
Mm.
reincarnation cycle, and that's something that I've done pretty much a 180 on this year, where I was like, okay, it's just a really useful metaphor. Reincarnation, we do the same things over and over in our life. We pass down behaviors to our kids. It's a great metaphor. Then I saw that Bruce Lipton video that I think I showed you, the biologist, where he was like, your cells are conscious, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And that
Literally.
kind of, you're not the TV set, you're the broadcast. So TV gets broken, no problem. Gets picked up later on by another TV
Different
set,
signal.
shows back on. But it's the
Same signal,
same
different.
signal, different show. Yeah, exactly. And that kind of put into perspective. And the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. And that's been fucking with me. I don't like that. Even if I'm not going to commit suicide prematurely, if I'm not going to end things prematurely, I want that sleep part to be infinite. I'm like, this is great. After this life though, I want to be done. I don't want to keep doing this. It's nice. There's great things about it that I like, but I'm kind of over it.
Yeah.
Like the idea of you just keep going and going and going.
Doing it multiple times.
It sounds exhausting.
Right.
especially considering it's pretty inconsiderate that we get a mind wipe every time. So you don't even get to learn. You don't get the benefit of hindsight. You don't get to learn from any of this shit. You just keep going, just the same shit over and over. And at first, it's kind of distressing because you're like, wow, this is a really crazy trap that we're stuck in. But then it also kind of was reassuring because it solidified, oh, there's absolutely no point committing suicide because like I should just stop. And not that I
just get shot right back into another life.
Exactly, you'll just be shot back into it. So what's the fucking difference? And not that I've mentioned suicide a few times. Not that I'm actually suicidal, but it's something I think
Mm-hmm.
about, and it's not something I get close to doing. But it's in my mind a lot when I get depressed.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
realizing how useless it would be is in one way kind of freeing because it's like, okay, cool, I don't really need to think about that anymore because it's like it's for sure off the table because there's no point.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
worst case scenario, all the religions are correct and you get punished for it. Best case
Right.
scenario, you're just right back into another life anyway, where you're gonna have the same pain of being an existing living thing anyway. So what's the point? But at the same time, as well as being freeing, it also is frustrating because it's just like really like I don't want to be awake anymore.
Yeah. But some philosophies, theorize different things that, once you find enlightenment, you kind of can stay there.
Right, you get out of
Um,
the
you
cycle.
get out of the cycle. And you can stay in the paradise or the energy ball or whatever it may be that is
The oneness
on
of
the other
everything,
side, right?
sure.
Yeah.
But that is a lot of now suddenly that makes the choices we make for the rest of our life a lot more important.
I mean, but it is and it isn't though. That's how everything is.
Yeah,
It
but that's what
matters
I
and
mean.
it
It's
doesn't.
like up until now, I feel like the way I've engaged with religion has been with the ideas and the philosophies because I like thinking about them and out of curiosity with like, what is this that we're in? What is this? And
Mm-hmm.
the closer I feel like I've gotten to knowing, there's comfort in that. Now it's at a point where it's like, oh, I actually have to do this for real. Like I have to live this way all the time. Like I have to cultivate these practices actually like really seriously in my life for the rest of my life, and then I have to probably do that for several more lifetimes if I want to get out of this bitch. that's that's a lot more serious homework assignment than I thought I was signing up for here. Like,
True. Yeah, but it's I started like reading all that stuff and getting on into all that stuff when I was like super young. Like I was maybe 12 and my mom gave me a bunch of like spiritual books and stuff. And what's funny is you were talking about kind of like lives in the reincarnation thing. So one of Frankie's friends, her name is Des. She calls me her friend now, so I guess we're friends. But he always told me, he's like, I think you're gonna get along with her really well. And we did. We like clicked instantly. And the last time we saw each other, she's really spiritual. She said that. She's like, I'm really spiritual, I do like all these things. I'm into herbs and stuff. And I was like, oh shit, what? I was like, wait a second. And she's like, have you ever done a past life regression? And I was like, dude, I was literally just about to bring up the subject. And she said, have you done a past life regression? I was like, first of all, I was going to say that, but I was like, I haven't. I always have wanted to like see, because what they do is they put you in like a trance. They put you in hypnosis and like your mind just goes, wherever it's supposed to go or whatever. And she said like she had gotten one of those done a while back, and she's like, dude, I was literally in a forest. She goes, and then I started running through the forest. She was like, I was a fucking tiger. I was like, bitch, what? I'm like, that shit's
see,
crazy.
there's two sides of me. There's the secular instincts, the
Mm-hmm.
psychology one, which goes hypnosis is
Mm-hmm.
about the power of suggestibility and our emotional manipulation and blah blah blah. And I'm a little suspicious. But then there's also part of me that's like that now that I more or less like 90% believe in reincarnation. I'm like, I want to fucking do that. That sounds really
I mean,
exciting.
like, why not? You know, and
Yeah.
plus the thing is you'll be able, I think you would know too what's real and what's not, you know? And I think if you're able to look at it like, because I always look at things, I gotta really experience it to believe it, you know? One person can tell me, oh, look, there are some things that I don't really believe in. I don't believe in demons. I don't believe in like
Yeah.
possession,
Yeah.
you know? I think maybe that could do with, you know, an identity disorder that was, you know, misdiagnosed in like the 1800s, you know, that kind of
The
shit.
descriptions for possession, it's like a lot of Jekyll and Hyde shit where it's like, okay, this is just a primitive way of describing how fucked up people are. Basically.
Something like that, yeah. Or like you don't know what kind of trauma that person has been through,
Right.
you know?
People who don't
So
have control of themselves.
exactly. So I always, you know, take it from both sides, psychologically speaking, and then also like spiritually speaking. And look, if I were to at one day become possessed or see someone where I'm like, whoa, this person is like fucking flipped and no medical shit can explain this, then I'll believe it, you know. But until I see it and experience it, I'm not gonna believe in that stuff, you know. Um and really like that what?
I think that's good, like a healthy skepticism.
Yeah. So, and that's why, like, I always told you when you're like, I don't believe in that. And I'm like, well, you just got to experience it first and then maybe you'll believe it later on, you know? And it's true. Like, that stuff, you just got to go through it because don't be gullible either, you know?
Right, that's the thing is that it's like you do have to be open in order to engage with this stuff, but then at the same time there are a lot of snake oil salesmen out there who are eager to sell you whatever the easiest bullshit is, and that's
For
the part
sure.
where it's like it is kind of tricky navigating, um, because the people that are 100% with the secular thing, when you really take their ideas to the extreme, it doesn't make any fucking sense either. The universe is all random, like get the fuck out, like that doesn't, there's too many things lined up, dude, like that doesn't work.
Weird.
And it also like there's just as many unanswered questions where you're like, okay, the Big Bang, what about before that? Nothing. What does that mean? It doesn't work.
Right.
But then on the other end, it doesn't mean I want to swallow hook, line, and sinker every single idea that's not in line with the rational and the reasonable. And so it's like it is tricky waters to navigate.
It is. And I think too, because we don't have like answers on that. Nobody does, you know, and it is definitely just one of those things where it's like based on personal experience, you know. Yeah, very weird. There's a lot of gray area in that metaphysical space, honestly.
I forget what it's called. There's a movie about the Dalai Lama's life,
Mm.
that I think would be cool to watch and we could talk about or something.
Let me look it up. Dalai Lama movie.
Yeah. Hold on.
Oh, I think, oh, there's a lot of movies about Dalai Lama.
Yeah, there
Is
was
it Kundun?
that was one of them that my world religions professor suggested. Yeah.
Oh, from 1997.
Maybe we could start with that. I don't know. There was a bunch. I'll have to look in my notes.
Yeah, I see a lot of.
There's a lot of movies and books that deal with this kind of thing, but I do want to learn more about it because the idea of the Dalai Lama, I'd always like heard of him, and he always seemed like something where it's like, oh, that's like an unquestionably wise person. Like you see him talking about anything, and he's like, you're like, yeah, right on. But I never realized that what's special about him is the fact that he's someone who remembers past lives. And when I first heard that, I was like, okay, whatever.
Right.
But now I'm just like completely fascinated and like curious. So what's that like?
You supposedly too, right? You can do there's like videos on YouTube. First, look, you got to be meditating regularly, but there are some guided meditations on YouTube that when you get into like at least moderate kind of meditation, you can get into that on your own. Like you don't have to go to someone to put you in a trance, you know, and do all that. You can do that. You can go pay someone to do that, but also you could do that stuff on your own.
Yeah.
And it's just following, you know, your instinct. Once you clear your mind and get that, you know, stillness and the first thing that comes to mind is usually the thing that's right. Because that's our subconscious telling us. Yeah, it's our intuition. And that shit never fails you, and we're just like too dumb to be listening all the time.
It really is crazy.
I mean, that shit I love reincarnation. I love all that spiritual shit. Like,
it's so interesting. It's so fascinating.
So fascinating. And there's so much to, like you said, the Dalai Lamas, there's so much to learn about it. There's so much history involved.
And when you think about, like, because I feel like intuition is one of those things gets easily dismissed, where it's like, no, the way you acquire knowledge is in the scientific method, and it's all, you got to think it out and stuff. And it's like, yeah, sure, with some stuff, but for everything you're good at, can you really explain how you can do it? Like you can control it to a certain extent, but how does it work? Like, and that's really obvious when you take it down to simple, like, physical things, where it's like, okay, you can control your breath, like breathing in and breathing out, but are you controlling the what are they called?
Everything, the diaphragm, the lungs, everything
of the way
yeah
the lungs are moving? No, it's like you're not doing.
No.
It's like, do you know how to work the little retina in the back of your eye? No, you just open your eyes and you look at stuff and you go, I can see.
Yeah, exactly.
But even with other things like language or drawing, or if you play an instrument, like, especially, I think that's interesting. I never thought about that. I always thought that, so you know how there's the whole, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Right.
Everyone.
You can though.
You can though, but also, but everyone learns better in childhood. It's easier to pick up language.
Oh yeah.
It's easier to pick up instruments, all that stuff. I'd always thought about it from the secular point of view, where it's like, it's just the neuroplasticity of the brain, blah blah blah. But thinking about it from a spiritual standpoint, it could also be that it's like, yeah, you don't have enough self-awareness to start blocking yourself yet.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. You don't know about failure yet.
Yeah, you're basically close to an animal. You're not trying to control it yet. You just
do
shit. You just go, what's that? I can do it now.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's only when we get older that we get in our own way. And I wonder how much that can really be overcome, or whether it does get to a point where it's set in stone and you're like, well, you're just fucked now.
Look and listen. So let's go right into that, because you just did a perfect little segue for Guru to You. Now, you know who says that?
Who?
You know who talks about that? Cesar Millan. Now, on his show, I think I might have talked about Cesar before, but who cares? Because I'll talk about him all the time. I always watch him.
Yeah.
But it's true. On his show, he talks about, really involving kids as being a pack leader, right? And he says the same exact thing. He says, kids, they don't know failure. They don't know. You tell them, grab that leash, walk the dog, they will. And they can walk it better than their parents or whatever, because they don't have that in their mind. They just said, okay, I'm just going to grab the leash and walk the dog.
Yeah.
And nothing is blocking them, like you said. So it's true. And, he always talks about, first your body, your energy, and then body, right? Energy, body, or energy, mind, whatever. And it is definitely possible, I think, to overcome that and to learn, as long as you don't get in your own way, like you said, and to allow yourself to make mistakes, because that's all we do on a daily, is make mistakes most of the time. Like shit. And how else are we gonna learn how to do something without failing?
Yeah.
Failure is the best teacher. And I know it's cliche and everyone fucking says it, but
no, but
we gotta remind ourselves all the time, because we be forgetting every 20 seconds. Well, I do.
No, I obviously, yeah, I do too. It's like that kind of brings us full circle to the depression thing, where it's like having pride in yourself, being embarrassed to be alive. That's basically fear of failure.
True.
It is a not a failure to understand, but an unwillingness to reconcile with the fact that it's like, no, you're gonna fail. Like, that's how you're gonna get to wherever you're going, is you gotta trip and fall up every step that you fall up. Like,
true.
You can't just glide up that shit.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Should be scary.
Yeah, it really is.
Who's your guru for this week?
My guru is Adrian. I don't know her last name. Adrian from Yoga with Adrian.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah,
Ugh,
yeah, I do
she's
too. She's
great.
great. And it's yeah, I watch her videos. I do a practice to her video like every day.
Good.
Um, and yeah, she hits the balance really perfectly where it's that soothing yoga voice, but not too much where you start
Not annoying.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because there's that's also an interesting part of this spiritual thing and navigating it is that when I hear someone who's like, "Oh, I'm spiritual and I'm into herbs and I like, blah blah blah." There's part of me that's like, "Oh, cool." And then there's another part of me that's like, "All right, but are you one of those people though, like are you
Mm-hmm.
too much?"
Right. It's like it's almost like putting on a show kind of thing. It's like, no, you could still have a fucking personality and be
Right.
spiritual
Right. It's
or
like,
whatever.
they always have the empathy face on, and
Right.
always, and it's like that's not your voice. Stop doing that voice. It's not the same thing. But
Right.
she's like she totally doesn't do that. She has a kind of authentically like calming presence, and I like practicing yoga with her.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like her videos too because she'll have more challenging things, but she always like reminds you, don't push it, just do what you can kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's always really comforting because I think that's how I was doing yoga when I was, in fucking ballet classes and shit,
Yeah.
forcing all the fucking
Same.
stretches when it's like, no,
Yeah.
bitch, you just breathe and then you do it right where it burns. Just stay right there.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
yeah, doing yoga like that now is a lot more, it's not as intimidating, you
Yeah.
know. It's more like, okay, this is a practice I can do every day and that's meditation right there when you do yoga.
Yeah.
You're connecting the body and the mind.
I do want to start meditating more. Like tonight, I want to do. I think I've talked about this. Russell Brand has this one video where he does a Kundalini exercise, and it's just like a
Oh, nice.
5-10 minutes something, but it's just like you have your thumbs in front of your chest, and you look down at your thumbs, you squint at them, and you do breathing exercises, just for like 5 or 10 minutes. You'd be surprised
Nice.
how hard it is to maintain eye
Right.
contact in one spot. Like you want to close your eyes, you
Right.
want to look around, all this kind of stuff, and but it does have that kind of almost hypnotic quality to it. And I want to start doing that and then branch out to other meditations because I love yoga, but it feels a little bit, when it comes to the meditation, it feels a little bit like cheating
Mm.
because I'm getting to move and I'm getting to do stuff. And I think that there would be benefit from also just like having to sit still, even though there is stillness
Right.
in yoga, but you're finding stillness in the flow. Um,
Right.
and I want to kind of I want to have no choice but to find flow in the stillness.
Right. True. Mm-hmm. It's funny you mentioned Kundalini yoga because I was looking up. Okay, last night I had a crazy dream, and in my dream, I always have. There's the. It's kind of a recurring dream. It's always in a different house, but on the third floor, it's always haunted, or it's always very creepy and
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
Yeah, a little scary, a little. But in dude, this fucking dream was crazy. Terry Crews was in it. Okay, fucking Terry Crews was in my
I
dream.
love when
Uh,
movie stars are in dreams. It's great.
I know. I was like, what the fuck is this? And then, my ex-boyfriend was in the dream too. It was really weird. But Frankie was also there. He was just downstairs. But anyway, I was in Terry Crews's mansion. And on the third floor, it was Terry Crews was on the third floor too. There were two kitchens. There was one which they called the breakfast kitchen, which had like, but the thing is, it was messy upstairs. It's like they didn't use it, like it was abandoned. But anyway, so I look it up, and someone has, like, I read someone made a thread with nearly the same exact dream that I was having, minus the Terry Crews, right? But haunted third floor, and it's always like really weird stuff going on and like old things. So I looked up and they were talking about how that could have to do with, um, first of all, very symbolic, seeing yourself as the home. And there
Sure,
are
that makes sense.
things that, yeah, there are things that are, in your past that either you don't want to deal with, or finding new rooms and passages too. That I always
That
find
makes
hidden
sense.
passages, like things like that. And
Mm.
it's like finding either old parts of your personality or new parts of your personality, just basically discovering new things about yourself kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it got into the talk of the solar plexus. which is one of the chakras, which is like right, where your digestion is, your stomach area.
You're supposed to hold tension all the time, right? That's what you're supposed to do. Is
I was like,
you just grip that always. That's healthy, right? That's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, that's exactly how you use your solar plexus.
Cool.
No, but and it was talking about an imbalance in the solar plexus. And then when I looked it up online, I just started out of curiosity. I was like, the solar plexus, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is this? And they start talking about how, as the chakra area, it has to do a lot with now crazy shit, literally crazy shit, because my digestion was really bad this morning, but it has to do with your digestion, your liver, your abdominal area, and also emotions such as feelings of helplessness, like everything that I have been feeling the last few days. Sense. It totally fucking made sense, and I was just fucking shook. And then I saw the word kundalini there, and I was like, what the fuck is kundalini? So in kundalini yoga, there are 8 chakras. Your 8th chakra being your aura, which a lot of people didn't know about. And I was like, oh shit, that's really interesting. So that's what, when you said kundalini, that reminded me that today I was looking at that information and it all went hand in hand, And I was like, holy shit, like, and I'm reading it now. It's like, when you're not balanced, when you're imbalanced in the solar plexus, it leads to aggression, overly dominating toward others, and low self-esteem, which obviously I was having an issue with recently. But imbalances of the solar plexus can also manifest in the physical body, such as fatigue, overeating, excessive weight around the stomach, and digestive system orders such as IBS, ulcers, hyperglycemia, and diabetes. IBS, bitch, that's me.
Damn.
And then, even talks about hepatitis and all that kind of shit. Dude, when you read about chakras too, that shit blows my mind, because the way it really does make sense, I'm like, how,
definitely, I have to look into them. I've been guilty of mostly dismissing them, because the chakras are usually brought up by those people that are on the annoying side of spiritual, where you're like, okay,
right,
like the people that are like, well, this is the jewelry that represents this chakra, and this is the jewelry that represents this chakra, and you're like, all right, bitch, like, whatever, please shower. But no, it totally
cut those dreads off your hair. Cultural appropriation. No.
What are you doing?
We're bad.
Hula hooping is not fun. You can't convince me otherwise. No, but
it isn't.
But it does make sense that there. It really isn't. It does make sense that the whole idea of chakras, because it's like, when you think about it, it's not really that much different from the idea of a pressure point. We have these bodies, and certain parts of them are centers for energy. That makes sense. I mean, animals can tell you that. Where does an animal go every time it comes up to you? Crotch. Why?
Right.
Because you're emanating heat.
You're sent. Yeah.
Heat. Energy.
Absolutely.
So it's not woo anything. It's like, no, that's real. Like, if you look at someone's body on what are those, the heat vision? It's not heat vision, but
yeah, infrared. Yes.
Yeah, if you look at someone like that, like, it's not like just one amorphous blob of color. It's like, no, there's certain parts where it's hotter than others, because there's literally more energy there, like a light.
True.
That totally tracks.
Yeah. I mean, there are 7 chakras, and really, when you do read about them, it does, like, you're just like, whoa, that makes so much sense. Look into
spine? Are they all in line?
No, so you have the chakra here, which I think is called your crown chakra. This is the very first one. Then you have your third eye, or your pineal gland. And then you have one here, the throat chakra, your solar plexus, and then you have like 2 down here or whatever, the root chakra, and I don't know, I forget the names of them. I have to like get back into reading them, and you can do certain like yoga poses and certain flows for, different chakras and what you're going through. But generally, like, when you have a blockage in one chakra, it'll tell you what your symptoms are. And bro, never have I ever looked at one and been like, those aren't my symptoms. You know, it's just,
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
really, it's almost creepy. It's like, but it works for everybody, you know? It is like a universal energy language. And it's all
That makes
basically,
sense.
it's your center line of energy.
Sure.
That's what it follows.
That makes sense.
So, mhm. And yeah, so I was thinking maybe I should do some like poses and like yoga flow for my solar plexus area. But they also say, you know, if you're having an issue with this area, then to reduce sugars and saturated fats in your diets. It's like it's an overall thing. You have to change
But
your
those are
food.
my favorite.
Ah, bitch, don't even, because I live on saturated fats and sugars, and my liver is crying as we speak. I fucking made, oh my God, I've been cooking, but cooking is tiring.
Yeah.
But I've been cooking and I cooked like this bomb ass salmon. When you come over one day or whatever, I gotta cook that shit for you because that shit is fire. Do you like salmon?
Down. Yeah.
Oh,
Of course.
fuck yeah.
It's the best.
So good. And then I make a little vegetable medley with it. Like
Mhm.
usually I did asparagus this last time, carrots, cauliflower, and broccoli. And I just kind of saute them for a bit where they're still a little crunchy because I don't like my veggies soggy. I don't know.
No,
I'm
I don't know.
I'm
Nice
weird. They're
crunch.
weird when they're mushy. I'm not a baby. I have teeth. I should use them.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't like mushy anything.
Yeah, I love carrots, but when carrots are cooked mushy, like there's something about them where it's like gross, bitch.
Yeah.
I don't even know, the flavor changes. But then so I made that, and then I also made catfish nuggets the other day or whatever. So
Oof.
I've been cooking, but then I made catfish nuggets, and then I fucking made a biscuit strawberry shortcake. I did everything from scratch. So yeah, I made my own biscuits from scratch, like fucking all that. And then I made my own strawberry glaze from scratch. The only thing that wasn't from
Wow.
scratch was the whipped cream because, bitch, I'm not going to sit there whipping cream for how long? Oat milk,
Yeah.
who knows? But I got some dairy free, like almond milk whipped cream, like ready whipped cream.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. It was badass and it was delicious. Like Frankie loved it, obviously. And it was good. But see, bitch, my saturated fats, my fucking fried catfish nuggets, that, and then my sugar, the
Yeah.
fucking shortbread.
Yeah, I gotta
But
start cooking more and cooking more from scratch. That's one of the things I want to do when I get kind of back home is I want to, and honestly, some of them I'll just do in like a weekend and then it'll last me like months. I just want to make like a huge tub of like no salt soy sauce because it's easy to do, it tastes the same, and then I'll be able
yeah,
to use it
true.
whenever I want soy sauce. And like just stuff like that where it's like condiments and spices and things that you can make and you can they always come with salt when you buy them, but you can just make them really
Like
easily without the salt.
probably sriracha too, huh? Or does
Sriracha,
that need
yeah.
salt?
No, it doesn't need salt. You can take it out,
Mm.
and especially if you compensate a little bit with other flavors, like you can make it
Right,
really
true.
delicious. Um,
That's true.
so I gotta do that so then when I'm cooking I can just really bring the sodium intake down. And then yeah, sugar,
Sugar's hard, and you know, fats and sugars specifically, it's almost like they're made to be addictive because once you start on a roll with them, it's hard to stop. But once you stop that shit, you're like, I'm not in the mood for that. You
Yeah,
know, you
yeah, for sure.
steer away from it. So it's just getting to that part where you're like, I'm not in the mood for it.
Yeah.
But that part is hard to get to.
You gotta basically treat it like you would like a proper addiction where you gotta scale back. So you go like,
True.
okay, no more processed sugar, let's get a lot of fruit into my diet. And then let's scale it
Absolutely.
back so that there's less fruit and more veggies, and then soon you're just on the savory. And then you kind of,
True.
once in a while
Yeah.
fruit or whatever. But
Yeah. Fruit's good to have in there, you know, for nutrition and hydration.
yeah.
Really. But yeah, I was, well, because my boss where I work, we were talking about, you know, plant-based diet, and I told her how, you know, me on a plant-based diet, I did really well, like weight-wise, health-wise, energy-wise. I just felt so much better.
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, but those diets have a lot of carbs in them. And I was saying, well, if you eat the right stuff, I mean, uh, starches, complex carbs are good because you need energy, you know?
Yeah.
these things give you energy. That's what most
also,
of your diet should be on a plant-based diet.
Yeah, that's what it depends on what you're doing. So it's like,
And like, what are you eating all the time? Like,
right. If you're eating rice, you can have brown rice instead of like
that part.
white rice coated in sugar and shit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's always like a healthier version of doing it. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
salad dressing is so fattening. And it's like, okay, well, have a little balsamic.
You
And
First of all, I don't even like salad dressing.
Okay,
I don't
great.
like
Salad
salad.
dressing is the best thing in the world. But
I hate it.
alternatives. You can have it without.
You can make your own salad dressing, which is usually better.
Right.
That's what I like to do. Like, if you make your own with some olive oil, some lemon, you can add, honestly, you can add some honey in that shit, add some salt and pepper, make your own little dressing. That shit's
Honestly,
fire.
my favorite thing in the world is just to dip like toasted bread in olive oil. I could eat just that.
Like an Italian restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, French bread.
Life hack. Did you know that you could do that at home? You can just get a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of vinegar on a plate and just sit there eating bread.
Bitch, I'd get so fat. Don't tell me to.
I'm trying.
Obviously, yeah. We're here for different reasons. No, but I realized I probably have some kind of a gluten thing because I get that breakout when I have like flour. You can't see it on this fucking camera, but I have patches of like little red dots on my arms every time I eat like bread, pasta, any kind of like, I guess, I don't know, gluten thing. Yes, that kind of starch. I don't know. That stuff, that's, I think, my biggest thing of gaining weight is the breads, the pastas. Ah, fuck it. That shit is so good.
So good.
The tortillas, fuck.
With that kind of thing, you just gotta ration it. Where you go like, okay,
moderation, yeah.
Yeah, where you go like, okay, once every 2 weeks, I go ham on some pasta, but like that way, it's like spread out.
True. I fucking love pasta, dude. And pasta with a little glass of wine. And you know what? I found a great vegan pasta recipe too. So creamy. Yeah. I fucking did that.
I'm trying to. I've been trying to like, and I've been scaling it back. It's been good, but I've been trying to figure out how to enjoy a glass of wine
instead of a bottle.
Because
it's hard.
Once that shit's open, I'm like, all right, let's make a night of it.
But I mean, look, to be fair, you can't just save the wine, you know. It's not, doesn't taste the same as the first time.
You can't put
you can't put the cork back in. Usually it doesn't fit. You know?
Yeah, it's like, what, what, third world country? Like, come on.
Rationing wine? No.
Yeah.
But it's true.
It's like, because every time I have wine, I'm like, shit, even my doctor said it's like, it's okay to have a glass of wine.
A glass.
But they don't say it's okay to have a bottle of wine with dinner, like.
Right.
I don't know who's able to have one glass of wine and stop.
I haven't met the person.
It's half a bottle minimum, and it's like I want.
Yeah, well, because
where it doesn't become that.
Yeah, you're usually sharing it with somebody, so half a bottle.
Nah, even without.
I mean, honestly, I've finished a lot of bottles of wine by myself. Usually, it is like a white or a blush. Because of course, like drinking a bottle of Cabernet by yourself is not ideal. That's definitely a drink with someone else wine, but it is easy. That shit's like juice.
I gotta switch to red so that it's harder for me to get through.
No, then you'll just be extra fucked up.
That is the problem. Red wine, I always get the worst hangovers. I don't know why.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes the sulfites, there are certain red wines that I've drank that gives me really bad indigestion, makes me feel nauseous, makes me want to throw up.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, I think I've thrown up like being drunk on red wine more than probably any other alcohol.
Liquor.
Other than when I was like a teenager and just like drinking.
Right, yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, no, it's like, I don't know, it always makes me sick, so I haven't really had red wine in a long time.
Yeah, for some people, it's like the sulfites in it that are a little too strong or whatever. They just kind of take over. Wait, can we take a bathroom break?
Yeah, of course.
I gotta pee. Also, we want to talk about the things we learn when we come back.